Welcome to Salcedo Paranormal. It is Tuesday, December 6th, 2022, and tonight I'll be sharing true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all the episodes of the show along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salcidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions, or stories of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. And, of course, the plans for the rest of the week. Tomorrow will be paranormal news, and then Wednesday will be another book review. Still need to figure out what that's going to be, but I have time, so I will let you all know when we get there. So, thank you all for being here, whether you listen to the live stream or you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds. And I especially want to thank everyone that has been listening or is listening to these streams at this new time, which for anyone that doesn't know, I have moved my streams to 1 a.m. Eastern time. Basically, it's Sunday morning through Thursday morning, or however you want to look at it, the night before to the night before. But just because it's better for me in terms of sleep and all these other little things that help make a. It's been amazing doing the show at this time. It's a lot easier, and yes, it's weird, and I'm okay with it. So. But anyway, I think that takes care of everything. So I can get on to the stories here. So let me get to that file. And okay, here we go. This first one says, in the summer of 2022, I was a cadet, and we had to stay at this old army base. Can't say where because due to privacy reasons, it says. It was about 1 week in. One night, I had to go to the bathroom really bad, and basically my dorm was at the very bottom of this long hall. As I entered the restroom, I began to feel very uncomfortable, like someone was watching me. I went into the nearest stall and took care of business. I went over to the sink to wash my hands. I heard a door slam at the other side of the stalls, but I brushed it off as one of my fellow cadets. But then the door to the stall I was just in slammed shut, and my heart was in my throat. There was no way that it could have been a gust of wind because it was relatively warm. I have never shared this story up until now. Nothing can explain that night. And that's where the story ends. It does seem like so many of these stories take place in rooms that have running water and going through them. And also, if you think about it, so many of these rooms, whether it's bathrooms, especially bathrooms, they usually have mirrors as well. So I wonder if there's something to do with the activity not just being there because of the water. Because if you think about that, laundry rooms and kitchens have water. But then laundry rooms and kitchens don't always have mirrors in them, obviously. So, just a thought I had there as I was thinking of there, just going over that story. But either way, sounds like there was some activity there. It's hard to say what or what was going on there. If it was someone sentient there that was a spirit, or what was happening. But does seem like there was something happening there. That's 2 stall doors in a row like that. Seems like it was someone that wanted to get the attention of the writer, possibly. If it was just one stall door, maybe you could write it off as some kind of a time anomaly where there was someone going to use that same restroom, and for them it was a different time period, and the only thing that the witness experienced was the one door closing. I guess maybe technically you could say that still could have been time anomalies there, just with both doors closing, really. But I don't blame the person for being frightened, but I'd be curious to know if that was the only thing that ever happened there, or if there were other events. I always wonder about that, and I always wonder which is stranger, when it's things repeatedly happening, or if it's just one experience. Um, I guess there's no real way to judge which is more strange, but yeah. So neat story there, and I wouldn't be surprised with any kind of military base, whether it's for training or not. I mean, that's a lot of emotions that I'm sure you're going through at all times. Um, and so that's a lot of energy. So just maybe that could lead to some things happening as well. So I'll go on to this next story here. This one, let's see here. Okay. This one says, this happened when I was 17, so about 10 years ago. I'm a native of Nevada, born and raised in Reno. Always have been interested in the paranormal since my first experience when I was about 7. So one day my friend and I decided to go to Virginia City and go on some tours to try to get some evidence of the paranormal. We get there and just the whole vibe was weird. I guess, like we knew things were going to happen that day. So we're on a tour of the McKay Mansion, and we get directed out towards the backyard to walk around. And keep in mind, my friend was about 20 feet behind me, and also had people 30 feet in front of me. When all of a sudden, in my left ear, I hear someone whisper, "Hey." I turned around and asked, "Was that you?" But he was so far away, there was no way he could have done that. But seriously, hands down, the best experience I've ever had. That was just one part. There was a lot of things that happened that day. So now I'm really wondering, of course, if anyone ever writes a story in, I would recommend leaving that part out if you don't plan on talking about the other experiences. No, I'm just kidding. Um, Always happy to hear whatever people want to share, because I know it's not always easy, obviously. Um, Hello, Mattel. He says Virginia City is definitely haunted. Okay, I'll have to look into that. Um, but yeah, neat experience there. Someone trying to get the writer's attention, apparently. Which seems to be the case so much. For whatever reasons, that's the hard part, I think. But um, yeah, so neat story there. Sounds like it was the middle of the day, which also makes it amazing because it's not your stereotypical late at night haunted house kind of deal. So just a neat experience there. And yeah, so had to share that one. So I have 2 more stories here. And this one says, so it's not a long story, but I don't think I'll ever forget it. One night, I was laying in bed, lights out, but some light from the street light and the moon coming in through my blinds. I was kind of zoning out, looking towards my door, when I saw it. It appeared to be a tall, robed figure. The robe was black, and no face visible inside the hood. It didn't say anything, but it pointed at me, kind of thrusting its finger towards me. I distinctly remember it was its pointer finger, having some sort of brass or gold ring on it. It was a thick ring that was just a band. I'm pretty sure it was brass. At the time, I just acted like I felt I should, so I made my nervousness visible. I tried blinking really hard and rubbing my eyes, but it didn't go away right away. Not that it was there long, maybe like 10 seconds. Anyway, that's my story, it says. So, again, going back to that episode that Jen, Jennifer Hawkins and I did a little while back, those hooded figures. Although in this case, it doesn't sound like it was necessarily a Grim Reaper, but I wonder what is it when people are seeing these hooded figures? If they're not associated with that, why are they there? And that pointing at the person as well. Maybe that is some kind of a indication of course, hopefully not, but some kind of message being sent by pointing at this person, whatever the message might be. So I don't know. Really a weird story. I'm glad that nothing really happened. Yes, it is strange about the pointing. I agree, Jen. Yeah. So, and the ring. I don't remember us finding anything about a ring, about the Grim Reaper wearing a ring. So that's a different detail that I don't remember ever seeing anything about. But yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with the ring. Matt asks. Yeah, I don't know. So, but a neat sighting of a hooded figure, and again with no visible face. Doesn't say if the hand or the finger was skeletal or not. So I don't know about that aspect of it. I guess if it was skeletal, then it'd be hard for the ring to stay on, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, just an odd story of an experience there. Makes me wonder what happened throughout the rest of the person's life. If it was some kind of message, and if there was ever an answer to that question. Maybe it's even something that the person doesn't even connect to that. Again, so I always wonder about what happens to these people after they have their experience, and it's impossible to know. But yeah, I saw that story and made me think of the episode that we did a little while back. So, but all right, I have one more story here. This one says, let's see here. It says, just so you guys know, I'm not an avid believer in paranormal. I mean, I know that things probably do exist, but it's not something I'm obsessed with or think about all the time. I do, however, have one story, an encounter maybe, from 15 plus years ago that I can't seem to forget, and I'm curious to hear what you all think. I was 13 or 14 and was coming back from my math tutoring class. It was winter, very snowy, and it was maybe 6 or 7 p.m. It was dark and quiet outside. The street was also dead, but the street lights were on. I was maybe 500 meters away from my house when I saw a man, maybe 15 to 20 meters away, walking towards me. What I remember is that he was quite short and bulky. Walked slowly, too, but I didn't see him well. Sometime later, I realized that his shape or walk reminded me of the penguin from the Batman movie. And it says, just for your information, I wasn't obsessed with the movie or the character. It's not something I just imagined, it says there. It says, anyway, I didn't pay much attention to him, but as he was approaching, I looked at his face. It was exactly like my father's face. Also, my dad is alive and well, and he's much taller and thinner. So it was as if his exact face was plastered on this short and bulky man. Also, I had a perfect vision at that time. He slowly passed by and didn't stop. I didn't think he even looked at me. I continued walking. It took me about 10 seconds to realize what I saw. By that time, he was already 8 to 10 meters behind me. I stopped and turned back, and apparently he also stopped a few seconds before me, and he was turned towards me. He was just standing there for a few seconds, just staring at me while I was looking at him. He didn't say a word. We were just staring at each other for a bit. Then he just turned away and continued slowly walking in the opposite direction. I didn't see him ever again either, which on one hand makes sense, but also, I lived in a small town and knew my neighborhood quite well. I saw the same people often. I still don't know what that was. Can it be something paranormal? Or just a random creepy coincidence? I did not expect he would be turned back exactly when I turned back. And his face, it was my dad's face, 100%. Same mustache, nose, eyes, everything. And imagine just two strangers, just staring at each other for some time, seemingly for no reason. Like it's not something you do with a stranger. What do you think that was? And that's where the story ends. So that one is an odd one. Doesn't seem to be just a regular ghost. Um, it's yeah, maybe a mimic. I don't know. At least in the facial features. And also, I wonder about that because it's not like this figure made any menacing moves towards the person. Um, it almost seems like maybe the writer caught this figure by surprise, possibly. Wasn't expecting anyone to be there, or if they were, wasn't expecting anyone to notice him. And so he was just as surprised to see the writer as the writer was to see him. I also wonder about some kind of telepathic contact where this figure only projected, somehow sensed the thoughts of the person or the mind and was able to take an image that maybe was possibly less frightening than what the figure actually looked like. Determining a reason for all this is really difficult. A purpose or intention of all this obviously is really difficult. But yeah, just really odd experience there. I just wonder if it had some other appearance and if maybe it would have been a lot more frightening. If maybe that was why I did that, or if it did that to frighten. It's really hard to say. But so I found that story tonight and had to share it because I've never heard one quite like that. So neat story there. But yeah, that's all I have for tonight. I had 4 stories and that takes care of all of them. So I think I've already told all of my stories about my experiences from recently. I don't think I have any other ones. Although it's funny, I was hearing some of my kitchen cabinet doors sounded like they were opening and closing tonight after I woke up for a bit. So, and it usually when I hear those, if I look, I'll see Logan, my cat, walking out of the kitchen, but I didn't see her walk out of there. So maybe I had something going on tonight too. Who knows? It's really hard to tell when you have a regular cat that, as far as you can tell, can teleport. And then you have a ghost cat that stops by once in a while and also does random things. I don't know. Really hard to know what's going on. But I'm the bumps and the little taps or what the little bumps and opening and closing cabinet doors, they really don't bother me. I never feel anything bad when I hear them, so I almost forgot that I even had that experience then until I just now started thinking about it again. But So yeah, and those happen, I would say, at least once a week, usually. Um, Sometimes twice. So they are a thing that happen here and there. But that'll do it for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night with paranormal news on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. Take care, everyone.